Well, hi there, you. We've been worried about our cat all day. She was really sick, throwing up, not eating. We're still going to take her in tomorrow, but after sleeping a while, she has become very affectionate and dying for attention. So, of course, what better moment for there to be an update, potentially, in the Joanna Lopez case? Go figure. Okay, it's already been a rough day for me. No, my cat seems to be doing well, but anyway. So, all credit, Chicken Parma on YouTube sent me a comment today, just said, hey Steve, have you seen FuzzyMemories' newest upload? It might give you some mystery or some more info on the Joanna Lopez mystery. So I saw that and I was like, okay, I'll take a glance. I wonder if maybe there's just like another video with Joanna Lopez in it. But credit where credit's due. FuzzyMemories, which is also, sorry, I'm having to look at my notes because literally I just saw this like 15 minutes ago, and I wanna talk about this while it's fresh, because I know I've been on the Reddit, I've been on the Discord for Joanna Lopez, and I know people have been very kind of oh, look who's doing this again. I know people have been very disheartened about the fact that there's been no forward progress, and while what their YouTube channel, Museum of Classic Chicago Television, I always forget exactly the order of the words in that. While this does not give us any more answers in terms of who Joanna Lopez is, it gives a lot more credence to the idea that this was a real thing. And I know as things have kind of stilted, there's been a lot more people who come out and said like, oh, well, this is probably just a fake thing. It's probably not real. It's probably a prank somebody played, someone at the station doing something. But for the first time, as far as I can gather, the post that they did today, Tuesday, May 17th, 2022, just according to when I clicked on it 5 hours ago, they posted the final 2 hours of pretty much the broadcast day of January 24th, 1988. So 10 days short of being exactly a year before the infamous Joanna Lopez missing persons poster came up. And we see at the end of that clip, which of course, again, Chicken Parma, full credit to you. I saw your comment less than 20 minutes ago and I'm already making a video on it, so obviously you had an effect on me. Thank you. But yeah, so I went and I clicked on it, and the first thing I did was I went through the description of everything, because it gives a description of everything that's in the video. It's like a 2-hour plus long video. And then at the end, it references a missing persons banner for a Tricia Kellett. I'm guessing that's how her last name was spelled, Kellett. And then I skipped to the end of the video, and what do you see? But it's almost the exact same thing. And this is a year earlier on Chicago television. Fortunately, in the case of Tricia Kellett, the picture's definitely not. It's the anti-Joanna Lopez picture. It's not horribly, it's not terrible quality, and you can look at it without being scared, so to speak. But the phone number listed, it says call 312-744-5594. Now, if I'm correct, isn't that the same number? Because it was the youth division. Yeah, but the one difference, because you've got the missing banner, you know, crooked at the side, kind of partially obstructing the top corner of the video. You have the phone number, and then the name, but in between the name and the number, it says last seen 5782. So, May 7th, 1982. But I mean, you look at it, it's the same thing. So, you know, and this wasn't just posted on someone's random YouTube. This was posted on the Chicago, was it Museum of Classic Chicago Television? I'm never going to get that right. Same channel. Yeah, so I'm had to pull up the Joanna Lopez. So yeah, 312-744-5594. So everything is comparable between the two. But yeah, the only difference is that it shows something that would be very useful to people trying to figure out what happened to Joanna Lopez, which is a last scene. You know, obviously another thing that frustrates us so much about the Joanna Lopez situation is we don't know exactly when she went missing. And, you know, a lot of people have been saying, like, you know, just because this got posted on TV in January 1989, it doesn't necessarily mean she'd recently gone missing. And here we have something from January 1988 reporting on a girl who disappeared about 5.5 years earlier in the spring of 1982. But, you know, again, with Joanna Lopez, there's so little that we know about her situation. So my first thought was, okay, well, let's, you know, because, like, are we to believe that, like, okay, let's say the Joanna Lopez thing was faked. You know, it was a scam, it was a joke, it was a prank, whatever. What are the odds that, you know, they did the exact same thing a year earlier? It seems like a stretch to me, but the big difference is that it took me less than a minute to find verification of this Tricia Kellett case. So I'm actually gonna, just to make it simple, I'm gonna turn my camera to, there's a Charlie Project page about her, and it shows missing since May 7th, 1982, missing from Chicago, Illinois. And I can already see one of the pictures here is the same one that was posted in this video on this missing persons poster. So we at least know a little bit about this, but the fact that she's on the Charlie Project leads me to believe that she, either she was never found or her case was never solved. But I'm going to turn it to here now so we can see a little bit about this Tricia Kellett situation. That just right here before us, it gives us all this information that we've been wishing and wishing and wishing and wishing we could find about Joanna Lopez. All right, so not the not the most beautiful setup here, but this is more about getting this out in a timely manner and helping spread this around. The video that I referenced, because the first version I saw was, there's like a full 2+ hour long video on that Classic Chicago TV museum. I'm never going to get it right. There's also a bit that's just the like ending portion. It's like a 16-minute long video that is primarily just the missing persons banner for Tricia Kellett. So yeah, actually I'm just going to ease in here. So I'm pretty sure this is the picture that's included, so we actually can see that picture as well. But yeah, missing from Chicago, Illinois, so actually a Chicago resident. It's the same channel. Is it WMAQ Chicago? So it's the same channel, so it would make sense they might have the same type of missing persons banner. And it is interesting, we've now seen, I feel like this is at least stronger defense. Obviously nothing can be presumed in the Joanna Lopez case, but this certainly provides some defense and some validity beyond what anyone may think or theorize about, in terms of the Joanna Lopez one being real. We've discussed the low quality resolution of the image, the fact that there's limited information on the poster. And yet in this one, the only difference is that it shows when she was missing, which would be helpful in the Joanna Lopez case, but unfortunately for now, we don't know that. But this is, you know, this is something. It's not big, and it doesn't really move the Joanna Lopez situation forward, but I feel like it gives further vindication of the fact that this was probably a real missing persons case, since when I saw this video pop up, the first thing I did was I searched around to try to see if this particular case was a real thing, or it wasn't just some mystery with no trail to follow, like the Joanna Lopez case has kind of turned out to be. I would have been a little suspicious if this was yet another case where there was just nothing about them, but this one has the information here. And I'm going to read through this. It's actually the description, the details of the disappearance down here are pretty long, but it is what it is. And it's interesting. So just, you know, now that it's 22 years later, if you have any information, contact this number, which is actually, it's the same numbers as the first 6, but these last 4 are obviously different. But it says that she was a non-family abduction. And she was, looks like 8 years old, about to turn 9 when she went missing. Blue 4-door 1979 Dodge Pontiac car with a damaged front pass. So it seems like she was probably grabbed from somewhere and put into a car, taken by someone in a car. All right, and the details of the disappearance are as follows. Trisha left her family's uptown apartment in Chicago, Illinois, after school May 7th, 1982, and went to a play with friends in the street. She was playing with puppies on a neighbor's porch and then was sighted getting into a car with 1 or 2 men near the corner of Leland and Malden. Witnesses described the vehicle as a blue 4-door 1979 Dodge or Pontiac car with a damaged front passenger door and a license plate beginning with the letters Q and R. Her mother realized she was missing at 4 p.m. and the family started looking for Trisha. Her mother called the police a few times that evening, but the authorities didn't join in the search until 10 p.m. Trisha has never been heard from again, and the vehicle remains unidentified. Investigators believe the man Trisha was with was Marvin Pontarelli, who owned a car matching that description. A photo of him is posted with this case summary, which I saw there's a picture of a guy there with all the pictures of Trisha. He had an extensive criminal background, including charges of kidnapping and the kind of stuff you'd probably associate with that. People in Trisha's neighborhood recognized Pontarelli's photo when 3 witnesses picked him out of a lineup as the man they'd seen with her on the day of her disappearance. One witness had seen him go into the Malden Arms Hotel with Trisha and another man. 6 months later, so it looks like he was looked into on this, but 6 months later, all charges against Pontarelli were dismissed after the victims failed to appear in court to testify against him. Oh, so I'm guessing he probably had a history. And sometimes that happens. I mean, can you blame these children? In 1984, the police in Arizona, where Pontarelli was living, found out he wanted to photograph a young blonde girl doing stuff for blackmail purposes. This man was a former inmate whom Pontarelli had met in a California prison, and he owed Pontarelli money. Chicago police found Fassler's address book, and an entry dated October 1982 had Trisha's name and home address in Chicago. Right under her name was Pontarelli's name. In 1984, he contacted authorities in Arizona and said he wanted to be interviewed. He said he'd written the address book entry after being questioned about Trisha by police, and that he thought Pontarelli was the kind of person who would be responsible for her disappearance. If Pontarelli was the person responsible for Trisha's disappearance, it's possible her body is buried in the foundation of Pontarelli's apartments in Chicago. Cement was being poured at the apartment complex at the time of her abduction. Pontarelli died in prison in 1994, and Fassler is also deceased. So it seems like they had a pretty interesting lead in the case. Probably was him, but we don't know for sure. So that's the situation that came up. And it's interesting because So yeah, so it seems like some of the latest info they really have about him being looked into for this was in 1985 and 1988. We obviously have this video showing her, still missing, and it makes sense when they say that her body's never been found, hence the missing person banner. I also did, the first thing I wanted to do was to kind of dive in and see if I could find any newspaper articles, on a newspaper database, which has been unsuccessful in the realm of Joanna Lopez. But I did find this one article that references the situation from May 12th, 1982, so just a couple days after she went missing, and discussing the details further of the case. And that's so sad. Mom's plead for return of daughter 8, and we, here we are so many years later, and she still has never been found. So this is a big deal. I mean, however you want to shake it, it does not, again, bring us to any real new fresh leads about Joanna Lopez specifically, but it definitely shows that, and it provides verification for a lot of these people that said they remembered seeing missing persons banners just like that when they were kids around that time, and now we found another one that is almost identical in terms of its structure from just about a year earlier, and it's on the same news station in Chicago, and it's in this case it's specifically referencing a girl that went missing from Chicago. Again, there's been a lot of talk about, did Joanna Lopez actually live in Chicago, or was she maybe from a suburb of Chicago, or from another state, and maybe just whoever was the anonymous person that reported her, maybe they lived in Chicago, or she'd lived in Chicago at one time, or like I theorized, someone could possibly think like if she lived in a town kind of outside of Chicago, it's not as big. Well, if you contact a Chicago station and get it on there, more people are likely to see it in the big city. And hopefully they could have gotten some help trying to figure out what happened to Joanna Lopez then. And in this clip, again, one of the things that was discussed was it was claimed that the Joanna Lopez banner, when it came on, it was on like pretty much all night. It was on for hours. And in this case, the missing persons banner that pops up, and it's a little bit different in this clip. In the Joanna Lopez one, it goes like, it cuts real sharp from the Star Spangled Banner to the Joanna Lopez missing persons banner. And in this one, the Star Spangled Banner, which you'll see in the video, it's actually a different version of the Star Spangled Banner that they use, and it's actually allowed to fade out before Tricia Kellett's missing person banner pops up. And in that video, it's like around 10 minutes that she's just up for, and then at the tail end it goes to static. And I don't know if that's just the way the clip is that was uploaded, or if that was the actual moment that when it was being presented on television, that was the moment that the missing persons banner went down. Maybe that was a normal thing they did, put it up for about 10 minutes and then go to static or color bars or whatever they chose to do. So it's another instance of an almost identical banner being up for an extended period of time, not all night or 6 hours or whatever, but at least 10 or so minutes. So it's practically the same thing. So it is a lead of sorts. I know there's been a lot of frustration out there as the case is stalled. And again, the last video I did talking about this was discussing the woman who claimed to be named Joanna Lopez that was contacted and said she'd contact if it was her, and has unfortunately left us all hanging ever since then. And I said, if something in that situation comes up, I'll obviously do a follow-up video, but nothing has happened. But this is the first significant thing to really happen in quite a while. So it is relevant, and I hope it at least serves as some kind of a motivating factor to kind of keep people's interest alive. I never dismissed it. I feel like in the Joanna Lopez situation, unless it's just an absolutely ridiculous theory, you kind of have to at least consider it a little bit. So I never fully dismissed really anything, but I never really fully believed that the missing person banner for Joanna Lopez was a prank, a joke, a scam, something that somebody within the station did or that it was just a test card or something like that. I never really fully believe that, and I've said as much in previous videos I've done, and I feel like this is further vindication that it shows that these missing persons cards existed, and that they existed around that time on that station at the end of the broadcast day, and that they tended apparently to have very limited information on these situations. And it really makes me wonder, you know, one of the reasons that there's so little information in this new one is because it is such an old case, and it's almost kind of like they're just kind of, it's not like they really expect anything big to happen or it's a big breaking case, but it's just an old case that they're just hoping, you know, to keep alive by popping it up there for a second. Why they would feel posting these after the end of the broadcast day would get a lot of people's attention, I don't know. Maybe they thought the weird, creepy people of the world that might be responsible for doing something like abducting a child or killing someone would just be sitting there staring at the color bars all through the night. I don't know. But I know, yeah, a couple months ago, I did several live streams going through all these sign-offs, trying to find something similar to the Joanna Lopez thing to kind of provide it some verification. And now it turns out if I just would have sat and waited a couple of months, example would have come to me. But I know when I did that, there was at least one instance I found where right at the end of the broadcast day, before the Star Spangled Banner, but just like a couple minutes before it was done, there was a Seattle station that did a brief bit on a child that had gone missing from Idaho. And that case had occurred like 2 years earlier. So it may be that in some of these instances, maybe in the Chicago station specifically, that a lot of these missing persons banners they were putting up may have been for cases that had happened at least a couple years earlier. And it might, I mean, obviously there's no proof there, but it might give some credence to the idea that Joanna Lopez, by the time she appeared on that channel in 1989, she'd maybe already been missing for a couple years, like Tricia Kellett was. So in that vein, we might be dealing with a situation involving Joanna Lopez, somebody who disappeared maybe more in the early to mid 80s as opposed to the end of the 80s, and, you know, maybe even earlier than that. You know, with the fact that this actually shows when Tricia Kellett went missing, it gives us a little extra something to go on. So we're still, you know, a little stuck in the mud, but also kind of treading water, keeping our head above the fray in terms of this case. But this is just the next thing, and it couldn't come at a better time in terms of how stagnant the Joanna Lopez case has become. So what does it mean? What will it help provide for us in the future? I don't know, but this is a very interesting, a pretty significant thing in this overall case in terms of hopefully answering a few questions we have, if nothing else, about that situation. So I'd like to thank Chicken Parma for commenting, not even on a Joanna Lopez video, but commenting on my most recent one, saying like, hey, something happened recently, you might want to take a look at it. And so of course within 15 minutes I was already setting myself up to make a video on it. So thank you for that. And I'm recording this, it's the end of the night. I've obviously been watching over my cat most of the day, but it's the end of the night Tuesday, so I'm gonna have this go live tomorrow morning. And yeah, obviously this will gradually get around more and more. I noticed that the like 2-hour long video that has this new missing persons thing at the end only has like 5 comments, and none of them are about the missing persons banner, but the one that's only the tail end of the broadcast day has like almost 50 comments. So obviously that's the place to go if you specifically want to just see that little part, which I've shown a clip of it here for you. And yeah, it's, you know, I've had so many other things going on in my life, so many other videos I'm working on. I'm trying to get back into like filmmaking again. I'm trying to just survive the sketchiness of getting to and from work, walking on the Portland streets. I had a guy literally get into a fist fight with someone and then threatened to kill me right afterwards, just like 2 days ago. So you know, this is something that I'm not constant. I've done a lot of videos on, but it's not constant content to produce on it, but this is obviously an intriguing thing. So anyway, just wanted to drop that all on you, especially those of you that follow my channel and maybe aren't part of like the group that's actually really delved into this, but you've taken an interest in it because of what you've seen on my channel. Well, I'm bringing this to you now so you can see that. So that's it. I just wanted to bring this new update to you in relation to the Joanna Lopez case that keeps on keeping on. So yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. If you have any thoughts about what this may mean, obviously leave them in the comments and get maybe some kind of discussion going. Obviously there's a Reddit thread that kind of is petered out, but there is a Discord if you want to like seriously really talk about this. That's out there, and I'm sure this will be getting discussed more in the coming days. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for stopping by. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Hit up my Patreon if you want to help me out that way. The link to that is in the description with this video, as well as the links to my Facebook page, my Instagram, my Reddit subreddit that I neglect horribly, and my TikTok. And yeah, all that said, it's a crazy situation. Right when you think it's all just gone dry, they just dropped another little, I don't know where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to come up with a metaphor and it's not going anywhere. Anyway, we're keeping the Joanna Lopez mystery alive with this. And all that said, this has been Steve the Amateur Historian, and I'll see you next time.